It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
In the vein of life changes, Brian, this question is from Rock Sheath. What are the top 3 to 5 things to think about from a financial perspective after having our first kid? So we talked about in previous segments, Brian, how like marriage can change things, right? Like, obviously having a kid and, deciding to grow a family, there are some financial things to think about. What are some pieces of advice, some sage wisdom you would give someone as it relates to the financial world that changes when a baby shows up on the scene?
Yeah, so many things popped in my mind as you were asking the question. I mean, first thing, I'm always thinking, you need to make sure, because now that you have another person, they call it dependent on your tax return. You have another person that's counting on you and your spouse. Let's focus on the stuff we don't want to focus on, which is what happens if something happens to you. And that's why we always talk about life insurance. Because term life insurance, especially if you're younger, it's dirt cheap and it provides a lot of protection just in case your income is not going to be here anymore to provide for all these goals and so forth. You can have term life insurance. You also need to, but with children, you got to have at least a basic estate document, a will or something. Point. So if the kids, if you're not here and your spouse is not here to talk for who gets to take over the kids, you can have that covered. I also think, and this is going to be a little contrarian, a lot of people think immediately, let's do that 529. And I love that. And hopefully you're having this conversation or you're doing the research before you're actually riding to the hospital to talk about the names of your child that's coming to the world, is that I want you to figure out where you are in the financial order of operations. Because if you're not at step 8, you need to shore up your own personal finances before you can start saving for your children. Now, there are some of you, I think you're probably like, well, good, I've box checked. I'm already definitely at step 8. Then by all means, go load up those 529s because they're great for future funding, because it's not only college anymore. It can be trade schools. It can be K through 12. There's all kind of great benefits to educational funding. I also think, it's probably a good idea, and this is on the front end of it also, we have open enrollment seasons that come up for people. Pay attention to your benefits, because your benefits as a single or a married couple without children is going to be completely different with these when you get some tricycle motors there, because kids... they go to the doctor a lot. So you probably want to pay attention to all the benefits that you're eligible for at work, and don't wait until the baby gets here before you have those thoughts. You want to kind of be looking at that on the front end to make sure you're maximizing that. And then also, this is not really financial, but just make sure you and your spouse, because kids, I think we all have this daydream that it's going to be so easy, so wonderful to build these memories. Because remember, memories blossom. Even bad stuff turns to good in the future. But in the beginning, you're going to feel like you're in chaos. I mean, that's why we call it the messy middle when you have the kids in the house. Make sure you're building in some respite for you and your spouse so everything stays healthy. That includes date nights or, having somebody come in so that you still are putting the kids down early enough that you still have a spouse and y'all have good communication and a good, healthy relationship.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to lean into, because you said all the financial stuff. No meat on that bone left, but I think you just hit on something that's so important. It's okay to give yourself a break, right? I'm a little bit of a control freak, a little bit like things to be a certain way. There's no better exercise in the world to change control freakiness than a kid, right? And it's okay. Like, things happen. You got to go... all of a sudden, doing a nursery might not fit into the food, right? Yeah. Going to buy baby bottles and going to buy 19 different types of bottle until you figure out the right one may not be something you plan for, but that's okay. Give yourself a break. It's okay. Yeah, maybe I'm not doing everything exactly, perfectly, efficiently correct, but it's okay. And if I do have to waver, if I have to maybe back down my savings rate, if I have to back into my emergency fund, if I have to, whatever that thing is, it's okay. It's part of the journey. It's part of the process. What matters is how quickly you can rebound from that. Once you do start to see some light at the end of the tunnel, start riding ship. Get that emergency fund built back up. Get the savings going back in the right direction. It's okay if it's not a straight line. Very rarely is life a straight line. It's sort of squiggly. What matters is, am I still moving in the general right direction? And as it does clear up, am I honing in on that movement? And I think it's awesome. It's not easy, but it's awesome, in my opinion.